7 o'clock, so we're opening the meeting of the Carver Elementary School Building Committee.
6:30.
There's an agenda, sorry, 6:30, yep, 6:30. Correction. We're going to forego the Pledge of Allegiance because we don't have a flag, which, and the other serious item was that we lost Liz Sorrell, our past superintendent, and she was very dedicated to this project. And so I thought maybe we could begin the meeting with a moment of silence on Liz's behalf. Okay, thank you.
I don't know if I can just say a couple words.
Yes, please do that because we're on.
So obviously Liz dedicated herself to this project, but beyond this project, she really dedicated herself to education overall, and specifically the students of Carver. Liz was involved in education for 45 years, teaching in Ohio, in Florida, and in Massachusetts. She had been a science teacher, curriculum coordinator, assistant principal, assistant superintendent, curriculum coordinator, and obviously was the superintendent of the Carver Public Schools for 10 years. And her goal in that 10 years was to see this building get built. That was a focus of her work. And we're all sad that she's not going to be able to be here to see that work completed. Though she obviously knows that work started, and she played a significant role in that going forward. So as the current superintendent of the Carver Public Schools, I'd just like to take a couple minutes to take a moment to recognize Liz for all of her work and everything she did for the students of Carver and the community of Carver. She was a tremendous support for all of us. And personally, Liz was also, on a personal note, Liz was very supportive of me. The 10 years that she was superintendent, those 10 years I was the principal at the middle high school. Her and I had worked closely together, and she always was a great support to me personally. So, thank you.
Anybody else have any comment they'd like to make? I know I worked with Liz quite a bit, and she was just very enthusiastic about this project and the kids. I remember her talking about going to basketball games, girls basketball team, leave here at 10 or later in the winter, go home way down the Cape, get up at 4 in the morning and be back here by 6. She was very dedicated. So, yep. Okay. Our next item on our agenda is the minutes of our past meeting. Anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes of Wednesday, March 22nd, 2017.
Anybody would second that?
Second.
Okay. Any additions or omissions? Thing we need to correct? Okay. All those in favor of adopting those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, Kelly? Oh, okay. The agenda, not a complex agenda. We just wanted to accept the minutes and go through a couple of formalities and then head over to the site tour for the construction. So, Chad, what do we got for construction updates?
Actually going to ask that Walter run through the last monthly report that was issued on Friday. This is for the month of May. Hand it over to Walter.
Yeah, so quick budget update. We've spent $12 million to date, about 23.5% through the budget. Contingency remaining, we're at 98% remaining at this point. And if you flip to the third page, we have about 6% in potential changes. So that means what we're tracking out on site that could become a potential change. So we're roughly 35% through construction, and we're in a really good place with how much we have left in contingency. some open issues that we have are some pricing items for moving the control of the wells, and then kind of coordinating work's going to be done in the summer. So we're working with the GC right now to make sure that everything they do in the summer is going to be buttoned up before the school year starts. So they're working through that. Not really much else to update from here. Again, budget's on track, schedule's on track. We're looking to have the roof weather tight in July, the middle of July, so hopefully the weather will start cooperating with us. But they're getting as much done as they can when they have that available to them. And on other activities, they're progressing right around the site. Tried to take some good pictures so you can see around the site all the different trades that are working on the site, the air vapor barrier, the mechanicals, the carpenters, masons, and the electricians. So a lot of work going on the site.
Walter, any more news on the cement setting up, so the VCT can go down or whatever it's been with?
No, we haven't had any news on that yet, but as soon as we are weather tight, we'll be looking at getting someone in there to test on that slab. It's not really worth testing now because it's covered in water.
Right, no, I understand, I'm just curious if.
Yep.
And did you guys discuss, I missed the last construction meeting, did you guys discuss the sheet rock versus the Dura rock?
We did. And we will wait until you have gotten back there.
Okay. So this week?
Yep. Talk about it this week if you're going to be there.
One other major development we've had is we've received the PFA bid amendment with the MSBA. That's when we take our estimates that we negotiated with the MSBA probably almost a year ago now, and we amend them for the actual bid values that came in. One of the questions that every community has is how much of the bid savings, when there is, we are fortunate enough to have a bid savings, gets returned back to the district. In our case, the total bid savings is over $3 million, and the town is going to keep the vast majority of that. The MSBA grant reduction, the maximum grant, is only $600,000. Another great piece of information is we were always fighting that $299 cost per square foot cap. When we amended the bids, we're $36,000 under that cap. So the MSBA is participating in 100% of the direct building costs.
Awesome. That's great.
So good news on that.
So how do we get that message out there?
That's a good one to spread.
Or is it
Let's,
premature?
Let's get it signed with the MSBA first.
Well, no, I mean, at some point, we need to,
Yep.
because I think it's very important, because the fire station was a home run. And this obviously is, this is obviously headed that way, and I think it's a very important, because there was so many, over the years, all the negativity, whereas, this is a good story to tell, and I think we should, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Good idea, John.
It's
So when the timing's right,
people,
we should coordinate that, that's all I'm saying.
Yep, absolutely. Even the MSBA is baffled at how this committee pulled it off, so congratulations, kudos to you.
Little old Carver.
Chad's comments, the $600,000 that MSBA is not gonna be giving us, a lot of that tied into the demolition of the building was an outside cost anyway, as above what some of our allocations were. So that piece is not really hurting us because we're spending a lot less on demolition. So even though we're getting $600,000 less from them, we're not shelling out all the other money that we would have gotten. So that's actually came out very well. And then the last piece is, even though there are some potential change orders, the fact that we're only 2%, of our allocation for contingency remaining is significantly below industry norms. And how far we in the project, most of the change orders should have already been identified prior to this point. So our remaining time for moving this project, we expect very, very small change orders going forward, which will end up with a very positive number.
There was one change order that we haven't decided on yet, so we're talking about it. I'll explain to you what it is. That, and this has long-term ramifications, I think, is that the hallways going down have a lot of ceramic tile up to the, like a wainscoting. And if you look at the job that they did in Milford that we went to that day, if you look at it, you can see the deflection in that wall, and it was, like this, and that's because they put the tile over, over sheetrock, not just standard sheetrock, it was hardened sheetrock, but still. And I'm of the opinion that that it should be Durarock, simply because, you know, they have these floor buffers. The guy could lose control of it or something, anything could happen, you know, a kid could be pushed into it, or a book cart could smash it, the tile gets fractured. It will never look right. I don't care how many, it just never looks right as a patch down the road, you know, 10 years from now. And if we put the Durarock behind it, it has a lot better chance of not failing. So I think that's something that long-term will pay us, we'll make money off it, but it is a small cost now.
Walter, did you have something in that too, or did you have something? No?
Oh, we have the pricing, we just.
That's
John
one of
wasn't
the,
at the-
that is something that is an add-on. It's not an oversight or an undersight, it's something that, to me, it's like buying a better quality lock set. It's gonna last, the service life will be longer. So I think in the long run, you save money, in the short run, it's a little bit more money.
On our weekly project management, we take a look at these type items, and, you know, sometimes we add small pieces just for long-term durability. A lot of times we're cutting back on things and getting, you know, returns because there's cheaper ways of doing things. So this is the type of discussion we have in our weekly meetings.
Another thing we did was that we talked about lock sets, I think, you know, about coordinating the lock sets with the other schools or the other, so we have a standardized lock sets and a standardized service life for these locks and things. There's a lot of minutia that you go through, but
Right.
I always feel that going with quality is always the best, because in the long run, it's a false economy to buy something cheap or just do it a little less, especially something aesthetically that I know what happens with tile. It never looks right once you start patching it.
So John, when you say lock sets, I'm assuming that a lot of what is gonna be there is digital now moving forward. Is that not accurate, or?
We have 20-something card readers in the building. I think that we actually just deleted one. But they're really only at the exterior entrances.
So all the classrooms
And
and
they're
everything
secure.
will still be key lock?
Yep.
The
And
idea
that's-
was
that's
though, that
typical of the
Dave
school.
wanted to, you know, homogenize the locks so
Yep.
that we don't have all these different, you know. so that-
Homogenized through the whole system, Scott? So you'd have the same key to go
Well, it's
all
the same
buildings?
Repair, you know,
Yeah. Mechanical.
the mechanical aspect of the lock.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
for like
oh,
for
okay.
strikes and all the parts
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
wear, you'd have one, you know, you'd only need spares, which would fit everything.
Could have a
Right.
different key.
Okay,
They'd be
yeah.
different keys, but.
I was thinking
Parts,
every
yeah.
one key was one person could go anywhere and do anything
No,
they
it's just the
want.
repair and the maintenance
Yeah,
of the locks.
yeah,
and
yeah, I
hinges
get
and
it.
Things like that.
I get it.
Which are wear items.
Yep.
We're trying to use the same brand through all our buildings, so it's easy for maintenance
Yeah.
operation, whether it's the boiler.
Yeah, oh no, that
That's
makes good sense.
Those, once again, it's cheaper to maintain, because then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the spares, and people are familiar with that brand. So this is, you know, we can repair more ourselves.
Yep.
You know, long-term, because it's not, you know,
Yep.
we're not buying some mongrel thing.
We need to do that. How about our overall schedule? I know we should be finishing this building by summer next year, right?
Yep. Still on track. The big question with the schedule is the rain. We were hoping the roof would be weather tight within the next couple weeks. I don't think that's gonna happen. We don't really know what the weather looks like next week, but this week's doesn't look so great. The key date to keep in mind is July 18th. We really want a weather tight building by July 18th, or else we'll need to look at actually shuffling around schedule activities in the building to mitigate any impact. So that's the magic date, so hopefully no more rain in the next 6 weeks, or less rain.
But that's
How
an
much
act,
of a-
that's an act of God.
How much of a window do you need, like, for that to occur?
To install it, they'll come in a couple of weeks. I mean, these guys, they're behind on all their projects really across, so they're in crunch time and they're ready to staff the job and put in the hours. They just need that break in the weather. We actually do have an area of A-wing that is weather tight, so they came out and then they got rained out. So, keep an eye. I don't think July 18th is gonna be necessarily much of a challenge.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this weather's gonna continue for another 6 weeks, but who knows?
Maybe New England.
So on the milestone dates, there's the July 18th, and then it kind of jumps to a year from now.
Yep.
Will there be more that fill in, or is this just?
Yeah, next month,
long-term?
what we'll do is we'll drop off some of the early actual activities, and then we'll fill in more
Okay.
detail
Yep.
as we're moving forward.
We'll put something like commissioning on there,
Oh,
or
yeah, I
document
see.
startups, or,
Yes, good to go for a year. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, lots more.
awesome.
Any other comments, questions?
So I just noticed on the top, it says day 206 of 627 days
Yep,
till phase one. substantial completion.
Yep.
So, so then phase two is significantly less in terms of the number of days?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. It's from June 22nd to November 30th of 2018.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it's at the top corner here.
Oh, there, now I see it, sorry.
Completion dates.
We use that as a gauge a lot to look at our risk management. So we know we're 38% through the bulk of the risk on the project, and then we look at how much contingency we've consumed or have for exposure. And that's the one that ties in back to that graph on the third page that shows our actual changes of 4.5%, while we're 37.8% through phase one.
Okay.
So that tells us we're heading in the right
I
direction.
think the reality of
Yep.
it, to put it
Yep.
in simple terms, is that because the site work and all that stuff is done, and the worst of the job is out of the ground, really the only thing that could bite us would be the demo.
Demo.
It's really the only real kind of wild card, you know, some unknown or something on the demo
Say,
side. There's really no unknowns on the new construction at this point, is there?
The biggest one's probably moisture mitigation in the slabs.
Right, that's
Again,
right.
not being weather tight out there is adding to that risk, but there are other ways to mitigate where you don't have the full cost impact of that. But if you were to do a full shot blast in our deck system, it can definitely get expensive,
Right.
but we'll look at
And what that
workarounds to
is
that.
the
That's an
glue, I
issue.
never knew this, but what it is the glue to put down the floor, the surface of the floor. The floor can only have X amount of moisture in it. So that's the issue, because they got rid of all the good glues, so the glues, when they use, are very, very.
Low
You-
VOC.
No,
You can't
no,
have-
subjective-
The opposite.
No, they're not toxic.
The opposite,
The opposite. The good one.
the opposite,
The good ones were, they were.
super toxic.
Right.
The good ones are the ones with the
They
lead
worked
in.
well.
Actually had asbestos.
Asbestos.
But the thing is, the real, so they said, like, was it 90% you have to have or something? You were telling me?
87% standard, 95% as a more premium glue, which we
Which
did
is-
specify.
Yeah, which is tough to, we might have to, eat the better glue or something, right? It's one of
Yeah,
the, one of the mitigations.
We bought the better glue, but there's always a new better glue coming out. The companies go back and forth, and it's always a few bucks a gallon more for
So-
the latest and greatest.
So that's a curve there, maybe.
We get the roof done, is there any way to manipulate the schedule in such a way that it allows you to get that moisture out sooner?
Dehumidifiers in there as soon as the building's tight.
Yeah,
You just
Can't
hit the
do anything
slab.
till it's tight,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not just the roof either.
Oh, yeah, sure, the
AC
sidewalls.
units out there, dry
Yep,
out,
yep.
the humidity out of the air.
an added precaution that we'll take, we'll have our independent third-party testing agency come in a couple months before we know they're gonna try to install forces. The flooring installers always test. We know they're gonna test, so let's test it ourselves and see if we're gonna have a problem. And if we can look at renting a couple dehumidifiers for a few $1,000s a month, then maybe that's another way that we look to mitigate.
Maybe
Down
after the 18th, we'll have a 95-degree heat spell.
Yep,
Yeah.
that'd be perfect.
Huh? Hey, any other comments, questions?
I kind of
Yep,
have something
James.
just off topic, but
Yep.
what John was saying about demolition. I think one of the things I've liked the most about this committee, and I think part of our success, besides what you guys are doing, is that everything that's happened has been really vetted, and we've taken the time to do it right. So I know we're still a little ahead of the curve, but I think in some way, some sort of discussions about what we want to do with this building and where we plan to go with, what kind of plans we would have for getting rid of this and how that's gonna work as far as the community goes, not the demolition of it, but the community. That, what our plans would be for that, and we can maybe start to put something in a process.
It's really good that you brought it up, because I had a guy ask me about the demolition and if we were going to, as a school committee, allow someone to come in and get some things that weren't gonna get used, or
Auctions,
what are we
school events.
thinking on doing on that, and
I can tell you, West Bridgewater High too, when they built the new one and then they did the old one, they invited everybody, and there were people from the graduating class of 1950 all the way up to this year, and they sold beer, wine, and water in the gym for $1 each. And they had a fundraiser, and you could tour the school and walk around, and there were just all kinds of ways for the district to sort of maybe try and get the community as part of it, and also maybe raise a little money in the process too.
Yeah, use it to hold reunions.
You can auction off some parts of this school that hold a lot of memories for a lot of people, and I mean, you can give it away too, I guess, but
Yeah.
I just think in different ways, it may be something to start start talking about, start thinking about how we wanna do that before it's.
Yeah.
Well, what happens, I guess, Scott, what happens to all the, like, the old equipment here and everything else that's, is this all?
We don't want it.
try to get rid of
We
it.
don't want
No,
it.
so what I'm saying is, on the bid, Chad,
So we have,
does CTA own all the contents?
we have 1 week to take whatever we want out of the building
That's what I mean.
from the last day of
No.
school, and then after that, anything left in the building is property of CTA.
I see, I wasn't sure.
So I think a plan is, I mean.
Yeah. So
a
I
year
think
from
that's what's
now,
made this
essentially?
committee so
Yep, June 22nd.
Yeah, I-
We have
Time to
all
think
30
about everything
is
that
there, so.
we're doing.
Past week.
Right, you start thinking about it right now.
So, I
It's
mean,
worth maybe a subcommittee or something
we
like
can
that.
have fun with that, we do a little auction or something.
Right.
Yeah.
An
Well-
auction, a walk around auction.
You know what?
Well, that's why I'm saying having the plan.
Some of this stuff, this kitchen stuff, somebody might want it.
Oh, yeah.
We probably aren't gonna have a lot of meetings this summer. The building committee? I mean, necessity. I'm just thinking that if we do that, James, maybe we need to appoint a couple of people right now,
Well, I think we do a subcommittee like we've done. before.
have a little subcommittee right now to be thinking out what format we should follow, us.
And I'd actually like to invite that subcommittee to a school committee meeting too, and maybe go through the process with them too, and talk about the process possibly. if we can do that.
All right, so,
Where's Heather? Where's Heather?
I was gonna say, who isn't here? Who isn't here? All Heather?
Yeah, Heather's on. That's, we could, she's at home, she's on.
You know, there's a lot of little schools. Nursery schools.
She would be a good member of that committee. She would have a lot of good ideas.
Very good.
I'd second it.
How about somebody else? I think we need to have a couple of people on that.
Well, you get
I'll help.
Dave. Dave's definitely.
I'll help, yep, yep, oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Heather, James, Ruby, and
PTO.
Scott? And you can start, you're not gonna be rushed that way, you know,
Yeah,
if we
that's-
start
I'd
now.
rather, You know, take the time, think about, get some
Because
input from different
maybe
places.
that, part of that can be the plaques that you've been the plaques on the old
Entrance,
buildings
yeah.
and transferring them. And also, Ruby
The
talked
time
to me
capsule.
about something maybe for Liz too. So anyway, those may be part of the whole picture. Yep, okay. All right, good suggestion. That's, we don't need to vote on that, so that committee is established and going to move forward. Thank you, James. What else we got, folks? Ready to take a walk?
Yeah.
Okay,
You adjourning, or then you coming back, or? you-
I think we're gonna adjourn unless, yeah, for the purpose of the tour.
If I could just real quickly introduce John Holt too. He's been here since actually even before construction started. He's behind the scenes doing design reviews, and then he'll be here right to the end. So if you see John, he's a
Thanks,
PMA
John.
guy. He's our boots on the ground.
And I've been checking on him. Yep, he's here. Very good, thank you, John. Okay, all those in favor of us adjourning, heading for the tour?
So moved.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, Kelly.